truck goes back, and they're coming out, and they pull the line down, pull the service off this lady's wall. It affected the electricity and her trail and everything. He replaced it. Wasn't his fault. I said, "Scratch your car." He goes, "Oh, I'd rather just take care of the lady." And he did.
Can I get everyone's attention? We have 3 proclamations that we're going to start now. 3 proclamations that will be started now.
What's up?
Proclamation for the crew of Mad Hatters.
Well, how you doing, King?
Is it on? You can talk. Hello? Yes. Okay, so I think we should probably get started because we have lots of proclamations, and I'm going to start off. Okay, so I'd like to invite Mr. Joey Lacoste and none other than Vince Vance to come up. So thank you for being here. We appreciate you guys being here. I'm Councilwoman Christy McKinney, and I was reached out to recognize the crew of Mad Hatters who recently held their ball in the city of Kenner. So I'm just going to read the proclamation. We're excited to have you guys here, and we will present you with this. So whereas the magical crew of Mad Hatters was founded in 2019 and rolled its inaugural parade in Metairie on February 15th, 2020, with over 400 male and female riders with 25 floats, a dream and vision for founders and co-captains Joey and Gwen Lacoste. Whereas the magical crew of Mad Hatters will roll on Saturday, February 11th, 2023, featured during the Jefferson Parish Family Gras celebration with an Alice in Wonderland theme filled with special lighting and dazzling costumes with their signature custom hat throws. Whereas the magical crew of Mad Hatters is known for inviting favorite local celebrities to headline the main characters of their story and to be part of their crew. This year's Mad Hatter is local musician Vince Vance from the country pop and rock and roll musical group Vince Vance and the Valiants from New Orleans, a California native with a unique personality as cool as his hair.
I'm having a good hair day, too.
Whereas the citizens of Kenner would like to recognize and thank the magical crew of Mad Hatters for hosting their annual bash at the Pontchartrain Convention Center on Saturday, January 7th, 2023, in the great city of Kenner. Now, therefore, I, Councilwoman Christy McKinney, on behalf of Mayor Mike Glazer, along with the Kenner City Council and Chief of Police Keith Conley, do hereby express the very highest appreciation and regards to Vince Vance, this year's Mad Hatter, and co-captains Joey and Gwen Lacoste of the magical crew of Mad Hatters for their support of our community. Thank you very much, and I look forward to having you guys in the city of Kenner, hopefully next year for our ball. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, I guess I'd like to say thank you for recognizing my kingship. I guess we have a Mad Hatter instead of a king in this particular organization. And I want to point out that there's a welcoming nature to Kenner. And I'd like to thank Mayor Glazer and, of course, the council persons. But also I'd like to thank Kevin Baroni, the guy who runs the Pontchartrain Center for you. he did such a great job. I've been to facilities all over the world, and I'd have to say that the food there was, I've eaten at the White House twice. It doesn't mean too much these days, but the food was as good as any place, finally the best of any ball I've been to, and I've played them all. So on behalf of my band, I'd like to thank Joey Lacoste, the captain, and I'd like to thank the city of Kenner for giving us a great venue, a professional, top-notch place.
You know, all I have to say is it's taken me 3 years to find the real Mad Hatter.
You need the right kind of hair. See, it's like this.
Genuinely, he is the Mad Hatter in real life. Gwen and I have thoroughly enjoyed, you know, our stay at the Puncher Train. Our ball was fabulous this year. We'll be back, and we just look forward to being a part of Kenner for years to come. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Councilman Joey Lahat. I'm here today to give recognition to two very important people from not just my district, but the neighborhood that I live in Driftwood. Behind me, we have Arthur Dupre and Christine Ross. They are going to be the reigning king and queen of the 53rd, correct? Third annual Driftwood Parade that's been going on since 1970 in our parade. Arthur is very well connected to Kenner. He's been living in our neighborhood since 1988. He has 57 kids and 185 grandkids, which is a great choice because they're all helping run the parade Saturday. So, of course, there's always motivations behind that. Christine has been in the neighborhood for 2012, and they live next door to each other. And Christine has done a tremendous job with our neighborhood and the Civic Association, not just revamping the parade, but driving us crazy to have all the other events too, like we used to have. The Crawfish Boil, the Fun Run, which is coming back this year. Christine does an absolute crazy job. She texts me on Sunday morning to 7 a.m., asks me if I did something, and she gets mad if I don't text her back. But she's a serious worker, and we're going to let the Mayor Glazer give them certificates today. The parade is this Saturday at 1 p.m. A lot of people in here ride in the parade, so I'm not going to tell you about it, but it's a great family-oriented parade. It's a 2-mile route. My daughter's dance team at St. Anne's dancing in it, and I'll be behind that float. But the sheriff will have the police chief will have the crime dog out there too. He'll be in the front, and we have John Schroeder riding the parade, Kirk Talbot, some state people, local people, Dominic Campestato, and some parish people. So please come to our parade, and I'll let the mayor give the recognition now to two important people sitting behind me.
guess it's ladies first. Well, prior to the parade, we'll read proclamations out on the parade route. So this is a certificate of appreciation. Be it known that the City of Kenner hereby recognizes Christine Ross Hurlbutt. Good? All right. A Kenner resident, engaged member of the Driftwood community, and president of the Driftwood Civic Association, as the Queen 2023, Queen of Driftwood. Given under my hand and the seal of the City of Kenner, Louisiana, this, the wrong date, the second day of February 2023, Michael J. Glazer, Mayor. Congratulations. You can say it if you, can you say anything or no? No speech. No speech. Thank you.
Hi. I just want to say, just thank you to to everybody. It's truly an honor to represent Driftwood, and especially in the parade this year. And I actually want to just extend a sincere thanks to all of you here. This parade is all about family, it's about friendship, and it's about community. And it wouldn't happen without the City of Kenner. You've made your resources available to us. You've been behind us from day one. Way back in the 70s, and 53 years later, you're still supporting this parade. And that really shows a lot for y'all to really just get behind this neighborhood parade and to make it thrive and become what it is today. So I'm very appreciative of that. I know the Civic Board is, and all the residents of Driftwood really are too. But just thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing everybody on Parade Day.
Thank you. This actual civic association is actually one of the largest and most active in the City of Kenner, and every year this parade pretty much fills up to capacity because the front of the parade catches the back of the parade every year, so it's almost like gridlock in this neighborhood. Well, it's time for the King. Certificate of Appreciation. Be it known that the City of Kenner hereby recognizes Arthur Dupree, a Kenner resident, engaged member of the Driftwood community, former board member and former president of the Driftwood Civic Association, as the 2023 King of Driftwood, given under my hand and the seal of the City of Kenner, Louisiana, on this, the second day of February 2023. Congratulations. It doesn't say that you're Assistant City Attorney on here, so.
I'll be very brief. I know you have to get on with some important city business, but like Christine said, I would also like to echo the thanks that she said in the cooperation. When my wife Shirley and I moved into the neighborhood in 1988, it was a welcoming community. It was our first entree into Kenner, and when I was on the board, I worked with city government for the various activities we had that the board put on. Always engaging, always cooperative, always easy to work with. So thank you now, and for all those who might be vestiges of those earlier administrations or new people in those administrations, thank you for the support you've given our community to allow us to foster that family atmosphere that we do have in Driftwood. And again, like Christine said, we invite all y'all to come to the parade and enjoy it. It's truly something to see. When I try and describe it to people I know, it's hard to do because it's not as big as the regular parades, but it's not as small as the other parades. It has its own niche. So thank you very much.
And Mayor Glazer, on behalf of everybody in Driftwood and the board, we present you with our flag for this year. You can hang on your house or hang on your float. Thank you so much for supporting for the city and the support of the police department, fire department, and the men and women. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think at 5 o'clock, all the kids were told to be here, so we'll start that one at 5 o'clock. The Eastbank Little League State Championship brings, and they happy from Kenner, right? We'll be back.
Mentioned, we are now going to get started with the teams and the presentation of the rings. Mayor Glazer will be taking care of this.
All right, guys. You can move this way a little bit. All right, guys, we're going to start with the girls first, I believe, as we did with the king and queen. But what a lot of people don't know is Eastbank Little League now calls Butch Dewey Playground home. So we're pretty excited that they now represent the city of Kenner when they go all over the state, the country, and when they play in the World Series, they play against the world. So, and we have the coaches start with the girls first. So when you hear your name called, come up, I'll take a picture with you, hand you your ring, and if you go that way, shake all the council people's hands, and it's that easy. So, Coach?
Thank you, sir. Good evening. I'm Coach Ray Wendell. I've been running the girls softball program for about 7 years now, 8 years. As Mr. Mayor Glazer said, we're excited to be at Kenner, at Butch Dewey. It gives us a home. We've been nomads, and it's been going well, but having a home is going to help this program grow and be stronger. So thank you to everyone for helping us get to where we need to go. Thank you, sir, for getting us what we needed to be, and we're excited, and we're hoping to move this program forward. So with that, I'm going to introduce the girls who worked their little butts off all summer. They worked really hard. They advanced out of state. They were one win away from advancing to the World Series. And without ado, I'll introduce the two-time defending state champions for Louisiana. First off, I'd like to announce Kennedy Torregano. Next, Jolie Lozano. Following that up with Addison Nakan. This way, this way. Miss Lillian St. John. Miss Addison Roban. Miss Taylor Allen. Don't be nervous, Callie. Miss Callie Baroni. Miss Caroline Roche. And Miss Charlotte Strassel. I'm going to add real quickly before I announce the assistant coaches. We have 4 girls not here, not as any sign of disrespect, but I just kind of want to say these girls were 12 years old in the summer, and I would venture to bet that 90% of them have gone on from literally 12-year-old softball to playing JV and varsity softball. So that's the skill level that these girls have. And so the 4 girls that aren't here have commitments to their high schools, so, but that's why. And as mentioned, none of this can be done without the amount of coaching I get and help. Chuck Strassel, sorry. I'm used to calling players. And then Derek Torregano. And again, thank you.
D, you just got to get one of those too. Not right now. Actually, Shelley.
See, you know how to see. Hello, how are you? You doing okay? Yeah? Good. They get big. All right, now for the boys. And what I was told that the rings actually have Kenner engraved in them, or part of their design. So have at it, Coach.
All right. First of all, thank you guys. Like Ray said, we finally have a home. And, I know a lot of hard work is going into this, and we're very proud to call Kenner our home. And, when we make it to TV, like we did with our 2 teams this year, it says Kenner, Louisiana on it. It's pretty good notoriety for the city. And, well, unfortunately, we didn't get past the regional level and make it to the World Series. Ray doesn't really say much. Ray's actually a 6-time, straight-time state champion. In this last year, they beat the team that actually ended up winning the World Series, but they lost to the team in the championship game because it was a winner-take-all, not a you got to beat them twice kind of thing. So Ray and them did beat the team that won the World Series this year, so they were the only team to beat that team. So those girls are amazing. Yeah. So realistically, Ray and the girls set the tone because they were the first ones to win state, the first ones to get to the World Series. So we're always kind of a step behind Ray. But he did lose the World Series championship game by 2 runs when we did win, so we do have that on him. So, all right. Well, to the boys now. This was a really good year for us. These little guys worked their tails off to get to the point where we were. This is the first time I've seen them since we got off the bus coming back from Waco, and they grow so fast. But we lost our last game was a tough loss. Both losses were tough losses in Waco. But this was the 5th time that we've won state in baseball in Little League in Louisiana. Eastbank, which I don't know if many of you realize this, we actually started in 2014 at Butch Dewey. So we played our first year at Butch Dewey. In 2015, after only being around for 1 year, we won state for the first time. So we've now won state 5 out of the last 8 years, and of course, we won the World Series in 2019, the only Louisiana team to ever do that. Last year, our expectations was to go back to Williamsport and to win. But just like in life, that's how baseball goes. You sometimes give up a 3-run homer in the last inning and end up losing, And we had everything set up. And I think about the losses more than I ever think about the winnings because I know how hard these kids worked to get to the point where we were trying to get to. And what most people don't realize, we were this close. We were this close this year to going back to Williamsport, But these kids did win state, and we've now won 5 out of 8, and they're now a part of that lore with all of these other unbelievable studs that have come through this program. They are a part of that group now, and that's why we go above and beyond to make sure that, we give these kids these rings, and it's a ring that, just like with the girls, it's no different than what they get in college. It's the same kind of ring, So, no further ado, I guess we'll go ahead and start, huh, Mr. Mayor? Austin Romagera. Hayden Nunez. Here's another big one. Logan Nelson. Sawyer Hale. Balin Mie. Michael Higgins. Drew Strumbo. Alex Saint-Amant. Clayton the Shark Dacus. Tanner Rouse. Owen Chipolis. Well, we got one kid on his way, William Boyd. I don't think he's here. And Dominic Mandina is playing basketball. And I'd like to recognize my assistant coach, Scott Leday. And my other longtime assistant, Don Abity. I think he's still in rehab from shoulder surgery, so he's not here. That's it. Come on, Frank. All right, last but not least, William Boyd.
We have about 10 minutes before the council meeting would start. If y'all want to congratulate those athletes, that's a great deal. Do we have any special intentions today? Councilmember Shorwath?
Last meeting, I asked everybody for prayers for my friend Brian, who lives in Texas. I was just notified 2 days ago that he passed away of pancreatic cancer. I'd like everybody to give the prayers to the family. Him and his brother, Krewe, was very close. Myself, Brian and I was fishing and crawfishing together and crabbing together several times. So sorry he passed away, but he's in better hands now with God. Thank you.
Councilmember Brennan?
Thank you, Council President. Just, I'm sure everyone recognizes the name of Andrew Messina, longtime restaurant person in Kenner, and did a lot for the city and passed away recently. So please keep his family in your prayers. Thank you.
Councilmember Lahat?
I want to recognize longtime councilwoman Jeannie Black's husband passed away last week, Jerry Black. Yeah, the services are tomorrow at 10 a.m. at St. Philip. Jeannie Black was a councilwoman in my district, District 3, for a long time, and Kenner did a great work. So please pray for that family. Miss Jeannie said she's coming to the parade Saturday, even though, so I hope she can, but I'll be there tomorrow to pay my respects. So please pray for him. Thank you.
And I would ask if you could say a prayer for my dad. He's back under the weather again. Today we're fortunate to have Pastor Laura Stevenson from Christ the King to lead us in prayer. Could you come up to the microphone? Please, everyone stand.
I invite you to join me in prayer if that is right for you. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, bless the public servants in the city of Kenner, that they may do their work in a spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice. Help them to use their authority to serve faithfully and to promote our common life through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Laura. I would ask Councilmember Lahat to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Next, we have correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads.
Mayor Glazer.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief today. As you see some of the signs around the city, tomorrow is the Black History kickoff concert here in Heritage Park with the Batiste Brothers at 6:30. The weather's going to be a little chilly, but it looks like the rain's moving through now. We should have pretty good weather for the parade Saturday also and tomorrow night. Some good news that I've been waiting for a couple of weeks now, actually probably more than 2 months, is the Treasure Chest Casino picked up their building permit today. So all of their permit process through the Army Corps of Engineers and through the City of Kenner signed off on. So their cost for this permit was over $93,000. So we need a couple more like that here in the City of Kenner when they come pick up their permits. And in Councilman Brennan's district, we had a lot of complaints about Loyola and the look of Loyola in between the 3 Loyolas and I-10. They making turns and the lanes weren't properly marked, so, but I'm happy to say that the Loyola is restriped and it finished today. The initial, I guess, estimate was $53,170. So we'll see if it sticks somewhere close to that. So I don't know exactly if they had any issues while striping. But that's the that project is now done, and that's about it.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Council Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Wait, Councilmember Brennan.
I just wanted to thank the mayor for pointing that out. I just wanted to thank everybody involved in that, the administration, Jose and his team, and we really pushed to get that done and get it done quickly. It looks really, really good. I've already gotten compliments and text messages and things like that. So thank you all very much for your assistance.
And I'll say all the thank yous go to Jose. He's on top of all of these large public works projects, so.
Then I'll take my thank you back to the mayor and give you another one. Okay, so there you go. Thank you.
Anyone else? Council Clerk?
Under the consent agenda, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of January 20th, 2023. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. Item 2A is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to the Rotary Club of Kenner on February 18th, 2023 at Kenner City Park, 3800 Loyola Drive, being property owned by the city of Kenner and Kenner, Louisiana. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2305-23, Cruising the Lake for Safe Harbor to hold a public gathering on March 18, 2023 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the purpose of a car cruise at Lake Town in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 3B is application number 2315-23, Christine Ross Herbert to hold a public gathering on February 4, 2023 from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the purpose of a block party for the King and Queen of the Driftwood Parade at 54 Madrid Avenue in Kenner, Louisiana. That will conclude the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, second by Councilmember McKinney. Is there anyone wishing to speak on anything? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings for final passage. We have none. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and or alienation of movable property. We have none. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. We have none. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,143, an ordinance authorizing the utilization of state contract number 4400025972 with Buckeye International Incorporated to purchase cleaning, disinfecting, and janitorial supplies on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $100,000 annually.
I have motion by Councilmember Shorwath, second by Councilmember Dunn. Is there anyone with any comments on this legislation? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,144. An ordinance approving amendment number 3 to the July 16, 2021 agreement with Dom Development Corporation for miscellaneous carpentry work, labor only, increasing the agreement by $100,000 for a total not to exceed amount of $400,000 for the Department of General Services.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hatt, second by Councilmember Shorwath. Is there anyone wishing to comment on this legislation? Councilmember Wilmot.
Yes, Mr. Glorioso, if you can give us an explanation on the increase.
Yeah, this is just because of all the IDA repairs that the company is doing, trying to get us back and operating fully. He's fixed up like the chapel, a bunch of firehouses, fire stations. He's now remodeling council office for you, councilman, and for Brownie Schwartz. Just all IDA repairs related. That's why it's so high this year.
It looks like it's going to exceed the 300 that's already been granted.
Yeah, we're pretty close to the 300 right now. I think we're at 288.
Okay.
And we still got 4.5 months ago until the new contract kicks in.
So you got 4.5 more months.
June, to the end of June.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Council President,
Councilmember Dan.
I want to know if is this FEMA reimbursement now?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah. Some of it, most of it will be.
Any other comments? Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 13,145, An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid from Economical Janitorial and Paper Supplies LLC for the purchase of janitorial supplies citywide in accordance with seal bid number 22-6704 and an amount not to exceed $50,000 annually for the Department of General Services.
Have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Lahat. Anyone have any comments? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 13,146. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from B&J Enterprise of Metairie Incorporated to furnish and install roofing for Fire Station 35 in accordance with letter bid 22-2029 in the amount of $17,460 for the Department of General Service.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brennan, second by Councilmember Wilmot. Any discussion? Councilmember Sharwath?
Mark, how did you know? Is there going to be a limit on how much we're going to spend at this? I know there's extensive damage. We know that, and we know we're going to find unexpected damage. But at what level that we're going to stop and say, look, it's not worth it anymore, or?
We don't have any limit set. We just go as the change orders come in. We'll address them at that time.
Just address it at that time?
Yep.
Okay.
He'll let us know as he finds damage, and we'll go out and inspect it ourselves before we tell him to move forward with anything.
Yeah. Okay. Chief, we have any, let's for say, worst case scenario, Station 35 is the roof's going to leak, and they can't fix it because the south wall is totally eaten up with termites and the expense is going to go. Do we have another way, another place to house these guys in case for some reason, and I'm casing just worst case scenario?
Well, as you know, our facilities are limited as to what we could do, so it's only one of two options that we have to keep them close in the vicinity. That's to move them right here to this station temporarily, or to the one in the 3400 block of Williams.
Station 379.
Yeah, 379.
Yeah. Okay,
I just didn't know, the public probably don't know if I'd say Station 379, I just let them know where the location is.
Yeah, I'm just saying worst case scenario.
Right. Worst case scenario, yeah, we'll have to do like we did with others in the time we went to that repair, move them to another station in close proximity to that location.
Gotcha, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 13,147. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid from ARCO Company Services Incorporated to purchase 3 transfer switches for generators in accordance with letter bid number 22-2036 in an amount of $21,385 for the Department of Public Works.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember McKinney. Is there anyone wishing to say anything about this legislation? Councilmember Sharwath?
We have a concerned citizen out there that wants to address that they can get these 3 transfer switches cheaper, way cheaper than what this bid is here. I'm kind of trying to squash a whole lot of problems that could come before this council, this government. And my electrical engineer, Bill, can, I know there's certain specifications for these switches and things like that, and that's why these switches are a little bit more expensive than over-the-counter switches, that's correct?
Yes, sir.
That specific question. But before you get to the question, I've reviewed the citizens' complaints or observations at great length, and he uses the phrase, "It is my opinion," or "It's my understanding," or "I understand that." It's a whole lot of hearsay or personal opinion on his part as to what he believes we should have bought. There are also some errors in his letter. He states that the specification said that only Generac transfer switches could be purchased, when in fact the specifications say only Generac transfer switches are equal. He also points out that there's a local company named Cummings, I believe, that he says Jefferson Parish uses exclusively. When these bids were advertised, and they were advertised on the city website, the amount involved did not necessitate anything other than letter bids. And that's what the purchasing director solicited, was letter bids. And Cummings, in fact, was one of the parties that received a request for a letter bid. They did not respond.
They did not respond, correct.
There were 10 companies that were sent that request for bids. Only 2 responded. One of which was later disqualified because there was an addendum to the specifications. And in order to have your bid accepted, the party submitting the bid must state specifically that they have seen and agreed to the addendum. The apparent low bidder failed to do that, which automatically disqualifies the bid. That left only one, and that's ARCO. And I understand Mr. Ziwi's concerns and his statements, but I believe they're just not applicable. Plus the fact that if we don't award this contract to the low bidder, who followed everything he was supposed to do and we did everything we were supposed to do, he will have a legal right against the city to order us, to have a court order us through a proceeding called a mandamus, which is a court order, a writ that a court can issue ordering the city to do what by law it has to do. And by law, we have to award to the low bidder, unless we discard all bids, and it was the only bid, and there's no basis for discarding the bid. Now, I am not in a position to speak to the technical specifications. I still think electricity comes out of the wall, so don't ask me anything about that. But this gentleman should be able to answer those questions for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Powers, I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Bill, you can either, or yes or no, it's okay, because Mr. Powers has answered all my questions.
Okay. Buy me lunch now.
Councilmember Wilmot?
So I'm looking through the supporting paperwork, and one of the memorandums in here indicates that there's a rating that was an issue with one of the bidders. Is that the purpose for that company being not considered?
Yes, in the addendum, we required that all 3 transfer switches be service rated. He did not bid a service rated transfer switch, so, and plus he did not read the addendum either, so he was disqualified.
Okay. So in the bid itself, do they not have language where the city of Kenner reserves its right to award contracts? Isn't there language in this? And specifically, I'm looking at, it says invitation to bid, City of Kenner, Finance Department, and it's got a 3-page document. And it's at the bottom of page 1. It says award of contract. The City of Kenner reserves the right to award contracts, and it goes into an or.
If I can, so, and sorry, I'm under the weather, so. We do have a right, but with the public bid law, there are certain rules you have to follow. There's reasons on why you can just throw out the bid. So you should never put out a bid that you can't, you don't have the budget for. So if this bid came maybe $300,000, well, first of all, we would have to do a separate kind of bid. So there are ways, kind of like Mr. Power stated, there's ways that, yes, you can throw out a bid and disqualify everybody. But for this one, we have no reasoning for. The lowest bidder, the one that's been selected now, met all the qualifications. It's a reasonable price, in our opinion, and there's no reason to disqualify.
So if it was an unreasonable price, say if it was $250,000, I'm just making something up. If it's $250,000 for each.
Correct, and we would have had to do a sealed bid anyway, so we couldn't have followed the letter bid. So typically what happens is we kind of get a price range that tells us what kind of bid we need to go after, And yes, if it was unreasonable, then we could throw it out.
Has the city of Kenner, in your memory, ever had bids that were voted against by the council?
No, not that I know of. I mean, whoever, as long as they're following the bid law, we are required to proceed with them.
And you, from a financial standpoint, you feel like this has been followed?
Correct. We have reached out to 10 vendors. We did the same process we do for every other bid. It wasn't like the other company was $5,000 and this one's 20. They were very close. So.
Mr. Power, if you can answer that same question, do you feel like this has been followed by the bid laws?
I can answer that by saying this particular solicitation is not covered by the Louisiana Public Bid Law, which starts at $50,000. This low bid was $21,000 something, I don't recall. But it has to follow the city's rules for letter bids or for any purchasing acquisition for materials and supplies. The Louisiana Public Bid Law is not applicable to this particular transaction. But our internal rules for purchasing must be followed. And they were simply not followed by the apparent low bidder who was disqualified.
Okay, so, and I guess the next question that brings me to is, if internally, if you had, we have a $5,000, I think, amount, that once it exceeds that, then it's got to be put out to bid. Is that correct?
Yeah, materials and supplies is $1,500 for a telephone bid. Anything that reaches $5,000 to $30,000 would be a letter bid, and then you move into sealed bid status.
So is this one that could have, if it would have been a lower number for each one of the
So
pieces of equipment?
You cannot split a bid to get around the amounts, and that's why we told them to bid all three together. If you know you need all three, go ahead and bid it, and that's what put it in the higher letter bid.
That actually, in your opinion, made it go into the realm that we needed to bid it out?
Well, and then one of them, I think the lowest was like $5,800, so you still would have been over the $5,000 for the letter bid.
Okay, I'm just crossing my T's and dotting my I's. So.
Understood. I mentioned one other thing, if I may.
Sure.
That in the letter that you referenced, Councilman, we believe it's very easy to come up with low numbers once you know what the high number was. It's very suspicious. And in fact, the low numbers that are in the letter are not for the equipment that we were bidding, that we were advertising for. What this represents is this gentleman's opinion in what we should have asked for, but it's not what we asked for. Is that a fair statement? He also makes mention of the fact that he understands that some employees in the department may have had illegal, I understand that the apparent successful bidder enjoyed a close relationship with a Kenner employee and may have played a role in both soliciting and crafting the alleged winning bid. Is that legally allowed? Absolutely not. He should report that to the Ethics Commission and have them conduct an investigation.
I'm finished. Thank you. Thank you
Mr.
all.
Power, you're exactly correct. It's easy to come in and give a low bid once you know what the other bids are, obviously. The thing that caught my eye was the huge difference. I mean, you're looking at $74.95 for one of them, and he's saying it should have been $1,165. You know, we don't know if it's an apples to apples comparison just coming from that letter, but it is easy to come in and, you know, say, okay, I know what the number is. I could have done it for this. I think we ought to get this guy, if he wants to bid on stuff, let's get him bidding and see if he can meet the requirements that need to be met in order to do the right thing, you know? And I was going to reference that paragraph too, that he needs to file an ethics complaint if he thinks that's a problem. But as you said, I think this happened and it's hearsay. So.
Yes, sir. And In
Councilmember
closing,
Wilmot?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just curiosity, is this purchase time sensitive? Do we need the
I have no
supply right away?
Is it time sensitive? Do you need these switches immediately, as soon as possible?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So what happens if we don't have them? Right away?
When the power goes out, there's no lights and no computers, and it's the one by City Hall, the 911 system will go down.
These switches, this part I do understand, are designed to have a generator start when commercial power fails within a short period of time, so that there's no time lag where you have to go out and start the generator. It's an automatic function of the generator that's controlled by I believe it's called the transfer switch. That starts the generator when the commercial power fails, without a human being having to do anything.
So it sounds like these are time sensitive if I'm.
I think if you have bad weather, I've had power losses in my building twice in the last 6 months. Somebody hit a telephone pole once, and I don't know what the other problem was.
Okay, all right. I appreciate all the information. It helps to understand the
Yes.
issue. Thank you.
And just for the record, to paraphrase Mark Twain, the rumors of my last council meeting are obviously exaggerated, so.
Yay. Mr. Mike, that was a squirrel that got fried.
Do we have any other comments on this legislation? Seeing none, council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 13,148. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid to purchase emergency airlifting bags for heavy rescue in accordance with letter bid 22-2032 for the City of Kenner Fire Department.
Have a motion by Councilmember Kenny, second by Councilmember Brannigan. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this legislation? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15G is summary ordinance number 13,149. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Peretz Men's Wear Incorporated for the purchase of uniforms and related services on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid 22-6706 and an amount not to exceed $150,000 annually for the Kenner Police Department.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brennan, second by Councilmember Brannigan. Anyone have anything to say about this? I have one question. Is that what it was last year? Has it gone up? What did we spend in the past?
I believe it's consistent with what we've had in the past, and they're the only people that bid on it. It's a not-to-exceed amount.
Right.
And it's pieced out by 30 separate pieces, shirts, trousers, pieces of equipment. But I think it's consistent.
So it's consistent?
Yeah, I believe it's
Okay.
consistent.
Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15H is summary ordinance number 13,150. An ordinance approving amendment number 5 to the agreement with Blinfield, Hunter and Junius Incorporated dated March 17, 2014 for landscape architectural services to increase the not-to-exceed amount by $3,600 for the Department of Public Works.
We have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, second by Councilmember Wilmot. Anyone wishing to speak on this?
We have someone at the podium.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years. Need an explanation for the increase. You beat me to the punch last time, Councilman Brannigan, but not this time. I'd like to get an explanation on that $3,600 increase.
Mr. Morell, I couldn't see you behind the two guys that were standing there.
I can squeeze it in the end, that's okay, no harm done.
This is an all on as-needed basis contract for landscape architectural services. The consultant was able to use this contract for different work tasks throughout the city. It just so happened that they increased the cap, And when they increased the cap, the city could not pay them, and this is what we're doing. We're increasing that cap, this cap for $3,600 to be able to pay an invoice for work that has been performed, but it's landscape-related services throughout the city.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of lots 1 through 48, square 57, into lots A and B, square 57, Highway Park subdivision, which lots are owned by Highway Park LLC and Williams and Vintage 57 LLC. Item 16B is an ordinance creating a temporary moratorium on the issuance of permits under Kenner Code of Ordinances, Article 8, Sections 10 through 170 through 10-181 for sales from temporary stands or vehicles. Item 16C is an ordinance authorizing the filing of a pre-application to the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality for the purpose of placing the city of Kenner on a priority list for funding through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan program for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the proposal from Covington Sales and Service Incorporated for parts and labor to repair Unit 9063 in the amount of $26,665.12. Item 16E is an ordinance approving an agreement with Comtech to furnish and install new FortiGates units for resource centers with web filtering and to set up hybrid exchange in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Item 16F is an ordinance approving an agreement with Digicom Systems Incorporated for software and hardware system upgrades and other projects on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $120,000. Item 16G is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of laptops and related items on an as-needed basis from Lenovo under State of Louisiana Contract 440000947 in an amount not to exceed $200,000 annually. Item 16H is an ordinance approving an agreement for advertising services with Capital Press LLC in an amount not to exceed $80,000 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16I is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid from L Technologies LLC to provide food service for the Kenner Police Department jail facility in accordance with seal bid number 22-6707 for an amount not to exceed $75,000 annually. Item 16J is an ordinance authorizing the use of State of Louisiana contract number 44000021185 for networking services and the use of the State of Louisiana contract number 440007560 for the purchase of parts, storage, equipment, and related items on an as-needed basis, both from Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Company in an amount not to exceed $200,000 annually. Item 16K is an ordinance authorizing the use of State of Louisiana contract number 44000021580 with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Company to furnish and install hardware and software to replace outdated servers in an amount not to exceed $300,000 annually. Item 16L is an ordinance approving an agreement with Desire Line LLC to provide project management, grant management, and administrative services in accordance with RFP number 22-6698 for an amount not to exceed $185,000 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16M is an ordinance approving change order number 2 to the agreement with Hard Rock Construction LLC dated May 23, 2019 regarding West Esplanade Bridges at Duncan Canal, state project number H.011731, federal aid project number H.011731, Kenner Public Works project number 2014-001A-CIP for an increase of $1,778,717.49 and to add 185 working days for the Department of Public Works. Item 16N is an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the agreement with Beacon Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Incorporated for air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration services, labor only, extending the agreement 1 year and increasing the agreement amount by $150,000 for a total not to exceed amount of $400,000 for the Department of General Services. Item 16O is an ordinance approving the sale of a 40,000 square foot parcel designated as Parcel B, Square 410, Highway Park Subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. Item 16P is an ordinance amending the capital budget for fiscal year 2022-2023 to establish funding for city facility repairs and body camera capital defund excess salary amount. Item 16Q is an ordinance amending the operating budget for the fiscal year 2022-2023 to defund excess in budgeted positions and increase funding for facility repairs and utilities. Item 17 is reports from the council and our special committees.
Yes, I have something. I just want to thank District 3 Councilman Joey Lahat for stepping to the plate and getting the Driftwood Parade back in play before he was a councilman. I know it's a lot of work to put it together. I want to thank Stephanie, his assistant, and I don't know who else is helping you. If you want to mention anyone else, that's up to you guys, but I know it's a huge endeavor, and we can't wait till Saturday morning. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking to run a parade. It's been going on for a couple of months now. Stephanie, my assistant, has done a fabulous job coordinating so many different logistics of bands, floats, residents, timing, the police department, what we need, resources, which the city, people don't know this, but the city of Kenner has been supporting this parade for 53 years and supports the Civic Association. It's very, very important for the residents. It failed a couple of years ago. We brought it back after COVID delays. But Christine Ross is here tonight. She does a fabulous job with it. Jeremy Ross, Matt Davis, BB Tran, Frank Calinato, Matt Brown, just a couple of people out there. I'm probably forgetting people because I got to remember all these names right now. But we have a great Driftwood board, and Matt Dupree as well, and Tim McCaffrey. So all those people have done a fabulous job getting this parade rolling. I look forward to seeing you 1 p.m. Saturday.
Council Clerk?
Yes, sir. Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Mr. Al Morella?
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years. First, I want to talk about the article in the Advocate on January 22nd concerning this sweetheart contract with Crossroads Centers. I want to commend the mayor for terminating this contract. I believe the motivation for that contract was influence from the political establishment on the then administration. I want to also commend Ms. Massoni back there for refusing to sign off on it because it was flawed. But when she sent the email to the legal department, to the city attorney, and it wasn't Mr. Power at that time, the one at that time, a meeting should have been called between the administration and the council president, and it should have been put on the agenda and brought to the people of Kenner. And there should have been discussion on it before the then mayor took it upon himself to sign off on it anyway, even though it was recommended not to sign off on it. The director didn't sign off on it. Okay, that's number one. Now, second thing I want to talk about is the sale of the Esplanade Mall. Now, it wasn't in the print paper, but I got to give credit to the Advocate. It was on NOLA.com. And in case people that don't have a computer, because they said that the purchase price was not, they weren't going to divulge the purchase price. So those people in the city of Kenner, like myself, that don't have a computer, and those that do who just don't care what it was sold for, the sale price was $10 million. Going to be redeveloped into 800 apartments and some other little shops or what have you. I'll believe that when I see it. But the apartments is a sure thing. Whether or not those apartments are going to be mixed income, low income, that's another story. So I don't see anybody here from Cane Ballet who's just on the other side of that wall to say anything about it. So in case they don't know, they know now. Now, one thing I want to direct to you, Mr. Power, y'all was talking about those contracts. You was talking about the state's public bid laws. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If a contractor has come in behind schedule on a project of his own fault, and he has cost the municipality cost overruns. Case in point, the one over here that just finished up not too long ago, that was way years behind schedule. Doesn't this make him not a responsible bidder, that he cannot participate in the bid process? If he has litigation filed against him, if his employees had to take him to court because he violated labor laws, federal labor laws or whatever, does this make that contractor irresponsible bidder?
No, sir, I don't believe it does until he's adjudicated that he did something wrong. The fact that he was sued or is suing doesn't mean that he's right or wrong. It just means that there's an issue to be litigated. But the fact that he has been late in completing his work in the past is a factor, I believe, that can be considered, but I think by itself, it's not the basis for disqualification. And I don't think the public bid law provides that.
Okay, what about if there was a judgment that was ruled against him? What about in a case like that?
I think it would have a big bearing on the entity that's soliciting bids if the judgment was in that entity's favor. For instance, if Kenner was sued by that contractor and lost, Kenner would have an issue with that.
Got it.
If Jefferson Parish was not involved in litigation with him, they would not have an issue with that.
Can you get an opinion on that, Mr. Powell? And
That is my opinion.
or that's your opinion. I mean, can you get some?
Mr.
I'm sorry,
Morella?
Can you get something? I mean, an opinion from the state as far as the open bid laws are concerned.
I can get one of my assistants to do legal research, but I
Yeah.
don't know that it's necessary.
Okay.
If the mayor wants me to do it, I'll do
Okay.
it.
Mr. Morella,
Yeah.
I gave you an extra minute because I missed you before, so
Appreciate that,
your
man.
time's up.
I'll give it back to you when I got a short agenda. Anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
I have T. Stewart. Please state your name and address when you get to the mic. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Theodora Stewart. I lived at 3117 Albany Street in Kenner, and I've been trying to get a bus removed because of the diesel, and all of the carbon monoxide is making us sick every morning, 5 days a week, 4 times a day, because of the school bus. Thank you.
All right, when I spoke to you day before yesterday, I told you I'd find out the information that I found out today. So somebody's going to correct me if I'm wrong. The bus owner was issued a summons to appear in court yesterday, and the court date is on the, February 10th.
Okay.
So
Well, this is my first time hearing of the date, because
that's
I've been trying to find out.
I found out this morning.
All right,
So,
thank you.
Okay.
If I may, the Code of Ordinances does prohibit the parking of school buses in some circumstances, but the ordinance that made that prohibition took exception to buses that had been parked historically in the area. And the citation was issued, and it's up to the bus owner to prove that he's covered by the exemption. That was my suggestion to code enforcement, and I believe that's what they did. If he can prove to the satisfaction of the court that he is grandfathered and covered by the exemption, the bus is staying where it is. If he cannot prove that, then the bus will have to go.
They say that the law hasn't been changed since 1983, and the 3 people that was grandfathered in is now gone to glory. Since 83.
Thank you, Mr. Powell.
Thank you.
Have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember Wilmot to adjourn.